In this next video, I'm going to be talking again about wellness interventions and everyday wellness, but I'm going to be focused more on the theme of consistency and getting to consistency. So oftentimes what you'll find is when you're starting like a particularly a new wellness habit, or you're starting to stack wellness habits, or you're starting to stack a bunch of things within your daily routine, and then you have like so much to do, uh, it can be difficult to stick to this consistent pattern. And it's important to develop a healthy relationship with yourself when you're developing consistency, and also to appreciate things like the value of intermittent functions and occurrences. Because taking breaks, even say in like physical exercise, that's actually a healthy part of that. And even something like mindfulness meditation, if you miss a day, or you don't, you're planning at practicing mindfulness or meditation that day, and you didn't get to it, that's actually in itself an opportunity to practice mindfulness and to cultivate greater meditation skills, mindfulness meditation skills. Because what you're doing is you're recognizing the art of imperfection within yourself. You can come to appreciate that, and also cultivating a greater sense of acceptance. And then once you do that, you'll find that you're more apt to be able to get back to it, and to actually develop a mindfulness and meditation routine through more of how you go about perceiving your motivations, your emotions, your feelings, your actions, and your behaviors in relation to the practice, and what you've done, and what's happened regarding the situation and the conditions, and how you go about managing that moving forward, which really facilitates more positive perceptions, positive motivations, positive emotions, positive feelings, positive actions, and positive behaviors, and ultimately a positive self through developing a better relationship with things like imperfection and acceptance, that you recognize through this in, intermittent aspect of consistency. And it's through recognizing the intermittent that we can develop actually more consistent, and it's not just consistent, but productive and constructive patterns of behavior too. So when we take a break or rest, or we miss an opportunity, it doesn't mean that it's gone permanently. We can always return to it and begin again. And that's very valuable for developing positive habits, and sticking with very positive habits, including various habits such as learning, and learning something difficult, like difficult skills, or working on a difficult problem, or even tackling a difficult subject, or even just doing something like you might find learning a particular subject really easy, or even be motivated by it, enjoy it, have positive perceptions, positive motivations, positive emotions, positive feelings, positive actions, positive behaviors, experience of positive self and positive well-being in relation to the whole process of learning. But just to sometimes get started, it can be difficult, and um, it's like really easy to procrastinate. And so having those days where you don't really do anything, that's okay. And sometimes having a nothing day is what you need. And it's recognizing that we can start again and begin again, that we can actually build, ironically, more consistent patterns of behavior that support our long term well being through these intermittent patterns. And integrating that can be very, very important. But this isn't also discourage individuals who want, and who are motivated to stick to consistent patterns of behavior, because that can be really, really valuable, and it can be associated with more of these challenge approaches, and more of this our psychological motivations that can promote positive well-being as well. So it's really important to understand yourself and develop the self-intelligence alongside that. But um, the key ingredient here is to also recognize imperfection, and to ultimately develop self acceptance alongside patterns of consistency and intermittent processes, because those two go hand in hand. And when we can recognize the intermittent within the consistent, this is when we're going to become more consistent, but not just more consistent, more positive, productive, and constructive within that consistency. Because if you're just moving like a train, it's really, really easy to get bogged up in these attachments to a particular direction, a goal, an aim, or even sometimes recognize these attachments to negative perceptions, negative emotions, negative feelings, negative actions, negative behaviors, and a negative self associated with ill well-being, which isn't productive at all or constructive, and it sometimes also can be counterproductive in building consistent or even gaining any benefit from intermittent gaps. So it's important to recognize and develop self acceptance alongside these imperfections that arise, because they're a natural part of ultimately the self and of nature. Imperfections exist all around us in our surroundings, and acceptance is ultimately what frees us from uh, our own suffering and our own pain, and loosens up these attachments, and also can help us gain space from them and liberate the self into a more positive direction, promoting positive well-being and ultimately a more positive self. And I hope you enjoyed this video.